Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Daylight is very rapidly approaching. It's already glinting through the window there at 6:17 a.m. Could have started about 5, 6 minutes ago, but I was doing some research on some things, so I got delayed. Sorry about that. I knew I couldn't start at the exact top of the hour because the news, I wanted to hear the news, and then I started doing that research. Okay, so this morning, another Canadian whiskey taste challenge. We have from 1972, Canadian Limited. And I believe I was looking at the old advertisement just now, forgot to check carefully, but I believe it used to be 86 proof, which used to be so common, you know. But then it's like so many of these whiskeys been dropped to 80 proof. I don't know why. I don't know exactly the reasoning behind that. Maybe you have some idea. Let me look on my history real fast. History. Canadian Limited. Here we go. Let's see. Blow up the picture. No. Okay. 80 proof. Blended Canadian whiskey. Fleischmann Distilling Company, New York. This is from around 1972, an advertisement, yeah. Two distinguished Canadians, Bobby Orr, the hockey player, and Canadian Limited. The bottle used to be nicer. Like now it's just the smooth Sazerac standard bottle, right? But back then you could see it was embossed with Canadian leaves and everything. And it was printed Canadian LTD Limited. Now it's cursive Canadian and with big LTD Limited. And then I was pointing this out to someone at work and he says, wasn't that a car? Didn't that used to be a car? I said, yeah. Ford LTD. I said, but it means limited. All right, it says on the Sazerac website, Charles Fleischmann was born in 1834 near Budapest, Hungary, and Maximilian Fleischmann in Austria in 1846. So the Empire of Austria, Austrian Habsburg Empire. And like so many, there's a whole history you can read about Jewish influence in the whiskey industry. Sazerac would be a perfect example. Heaven Hill, another perfect example. It goes on and on and on. His brother Maximilian returned with him to America. I don't want to go into the whole thing. They were involved in baking, and then Fleischmann Distilling Company was founded in America as first distilled gin as well. They formed a partnership in 1868 with James Gaff, a Cincinnati distiller. Oh, right, there's Fleischmann's Yeast today. That's a separate thing. I get obviously, I suppose Fleischmann's Yeast. You know, okay, all right, making sense. They featured their Fleischmann's Vienna Bakery products at the Great Centennial Exhibition in Philadelphia in 1876. Gaff died in 1879. Fleischmann purchased the shares of the company. Over the next several decades, Fleischmann expanded their foray into spirits with Eastern rye whiskey, cordials, bourbon, and vodka. In 1975, they were the first to introduce an American-made Amaretto d'Amore. D'Amore. Okay. Do they still make D'Amore, Sazerac? I know they own Fleischmann today. They bought Fleischmann's. Right? Right. Cordials, liqueurs, and specialties. Specialities, I think they spell it in the British way. D'Amore, yeah. D'Amore Amaretto. Oh, yeah. People buy that stuff like crazy. Well, see how you can learn by studying. So that's how you learn stuff. You study, you read, you learn. Okay, so Canadian Limited. You say that ain't no great whiskey. I never said it was a great whiskey, but it is one of the top selling Canadian whiskeys. Whether you approve of that or disapprove of it or you don't care, it is a big seller. You say that's because it's cheap. This would play a big role in that, I do believe. It used to be $7.49 at Walmart, but I noticed it's jumped up to $8. No, maybe it's $7.99. I don't know. It's close to $8 now at Walmart. Prices are going up these days. The price jumped up at international market for the big jug bottle, but it's still inexpensive. Okay. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors, Canadian limited, and yes, it's still 80 proof. So it was 80 proof to start with. I'm glad I double checked that. The label is, like I say, different than the Fleischmann days. There's a beaver carrying a stick, a lion, and a unicorn. And then you can't, it's black and gold, but you can make out perhaps 2 crowns and 2 fleur-de-lis bands. So there's 5 fleur-de-lis and 2 crowns. You say, what does that mean? I don't know. Maybe the eastern part of Canada under the royal family and the western part of Canada under the royal family. And 5 fleur-de-lis for 5 areas where there would be a lot of French people in Canada. But probably they just came up with the design because it seemed Canadian and there wasn't a whole lot of thought put into it aside from that, making it look kind of sharp. Okay, yeah, that's probably the real reason. Right? You say, you're breaking the Fleischmann Code, the Fleischmann Code. It's a prophecy. That's the time when water starts to burn. And when the fool prophesies. Okay, Canada, another Canadian, Caliber Canadian. There's 1 crown, 2 maple leaves. You say, that's a code. That means something. That's an allegory. Well, it's really just same old theme, royal, the Kingdom of Canada, Dominion of Canada, the crown, and 2 maple leaves because everybody thinks of Canada, they think of maple leaves. All right. Look at this bottle, beautiful plastic. James P. Madonna had to laugh last night when I said plastic. He's laughed. And it's so cheap, they don't even put a label on the back. You know, the informational label on the back is right stuck right there on the front. And I was saying the other day, it looks like one of these what you call them products, like food service products, like something they wouldn't actually put on the shelf, but that they would use in an institution, like an institutional grade product, like people get from Cisco and all these institutional suppliers. So if you're looking for something with a lot of fancy presentation and decent appearance, no, this is not the one to look for. But it does. Oh, and it came out in 2004. It's mainly made for Walmart, from what I can determine, but it's not exclusively made for Walmart, as I previously thought. That was incorrect. Yeah, if I keep talking long enough, maybe I can delay going for that half-a-mile walk this morning and not be out in that 44-degree cold weather. You say, that's not that cold. No, but in Louisiana, it's cold because our humidity level is so high. Doesn't have to be cold to feel cold. When you're wet, you feel cold. If there's any kind of low temperature, right? So it's a bad combination. Dampness and cold. I know what I'm talking about because I've been to other states where it was much colder than 44 and it didn't feel cold. Even been in snow. Okay. Made a little bit of a mistake. Well, I'll fix that. So worried about humidity. now come off the glass. Oh, I see the problem. Okay, so that caliber pours so nice. And you know why? Because it's got that special pour. But you got to watch it because it'll just gush out. Because it's, I guess you call that thing a regulator. And it's designed to regulate the airflow where it's a smooth pour. The problem is that it you can pour too much. Okay, well, we got that fixed. It's going to really be a challenge because I don't think there's much difference between these two. They're both made by Sazerac in Canada. They're aged up there, then they're blended, and and then shipped down here. And I think the Canadian whiskey deal mainly is that isn't that the main thing they do? They blend after they age the separate components. And there's one company that says we do it different because we blend then age, which helps them meld together. Okay. That's not the general practice. Louisville, Kentucky. And I know this one is Owensboro, Kentucky. Yeah. Fleischmann Distilling Company, Owensboro. But after Sazerac bought that Owensboro plant, they turned it into just a bottling plant. It used to be a distillery, but they just bottle there now. And same thing with Louisville. I mean, I guess they don't need that many distilleries. They have enough capacity at Bardstown and at Buffalo Trace in Frankfurt. And another thing, they must have excess capacity because when I was in Bardstown, the lady told me that, well, they had 19 barrel houses, I believe, but we were in one of them, and she said half the barrels in that house were aging Paul Masson brandy. I guessed that. She said, does anybody know what's in there? I said, brandy. And she said, right, Paul Masson. I had read about it already. So, and then remember last year, one of the barrel houses collapsed. I thought that was so strange because I said, I told my father on the phone, just last year we were in the house, not that particular one necessarily, and the lady was saying they had that plumb line, and she said, you see how that plumb line is above that circle? We said, yeah. She said, if it ever starts to do this or do that, and it's off plumb, like that means the house is leaning and it's about to collapse or could collapse, and you should immediately run out. But that's exactly what happened. A year later, one of the houses, they're all wood. It's just wood with tin on the outside and a roof, and they're not heated or cooled. They're open air. And one of them had a structural issue, and the barrels are so heavy, and it started to shift and lean. Now, once they start leaning, they get momentum, right? There's no way you're going to stop them. It's coming down. And that thing, those barrels just went everywhere. They said most of them didn't burst open, though. They were shocked. Some did, and it ran into the river. And apparently it wasn't bourbon at first. They were saying bourbon, but apparently most of what spilled was Paul Masson brandy of whatever grade. I don't know, VS, VSOP. Anyway, the grade, I think, is based on the aging anyway. The recipe is the same. It's just they go 2 years, 4 years, and 6 years type thing. Okay. My friend David smelled the Canadian Limited, and he said, oh, it tastes like, and he tasted it. He said, it tastes like black licorice, and he dumped it down the sink. And I said, I didn't buy this so you could dump it. He said, well, I didn't like it. I said, well, golly, you could have at least drank it. But no. But he wanted to test it before he bought that 1.75 liter bottle at International Market. He said, I'm glad I tried it. I said, yeah, because you'd have paid $10.99 for a bunch of whiskey you didn't like. They still got it, but the price has gone up for those big jug bottles. $10.99 was, I guess, a special. This smells kind of like limited because the aroma's mild. And I remember the caliber being kind of pronounced, like kind of rushing at you, kind of strong. But neither one of these is really coming out too pungent today. It just seem kind of mellow. Yeah, you get the flavorings. Almost like it's an amaretto. I don't know what it is. And they updated the Government of Canada website 5 days ago, and now they don't list the flavorings that are required. Have the regulations changed? And they don't list the percentage that you're allowed to do. I don't know if they changed. I do not know. I just know now all the Canadian regulations list now is say it may contain caramel color and flavorings. That's all this is. Did he already drink it? I didn't catch it. The Asian lyrics. No, I'm testing it right now, the Asian lyrics. Thanks for watching. Okay. So the aroma, it's a draw. They both smell fine, and you get grain alcohol mostly, and you get those flavorings on the top side. I will have to say this one's a little more pungent as they set. This one's going bland on me. Might be the caliber, you know. They don't have an age statement, so they're probably the minimum 3 years. Okay. I was looking at an old bottle of Canadian whiskey from the 1970s on this guy's website called the Liquor Collection, and it said age 2 years. This is a 2-year-old. So the regulations must have gotten stricter. It must have used to be 2 years. Maybe they used to not have an age requirement. I don't know. So aroma, the one in my left hand has a more bountiful aroma. Must be the limited. Let's go with the taste. Hey, look, if the flavors are similar, you know who wins? The caliber, because it's $2 cheaper now. Both at Walmart. Both at Walmart. Now, you might say, no, I can't do plastic. I got to go glass. Well, then pay $2 more and get the glass. I don't find it makes any difference. People will say, oh, it's a big difference. I just have not noticed any difference. This is me. Maybe I'm a tool of the corporate masters, but I just haven't noticed that plastic bottles make any difference. They don't look as nice, but as far as flavor, I think these PET bottles are so heavily researched and tested that you're not going to notice. But that's me. A lot of corn, sweet corn. Rye. This one on my right definitely has a rye note. It's spicy rye now. You say, that's Canadian whiskey, boy, rye, high rye. Yes, I know. This one has sweet corn too, but it's a little more full corn flavor. A little, I don't want to necessarily say a harsher corn flavor. Let's say a bolder corn flavor. Not as much rye. Okay, well, there goes my idea that they taste the same. Which one tastes better? Well, and they're not from the same bottling plant. Remember, Owensboro, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. You say, yeah, but it could be coming from the same distillery in Canada. This is true. Could be the same recipe. This is true. You'll never know. This is true. But seems to me they taste the same. Do they taste very similar? Yes. Are they identical in flavor? No. Do they taste bad? No. Would they probably be more suitable for mixed drinks, cocktails, highballs? Yes. Are they tolerable as standalone sippers? Yes. If I was trying to get somebody involved in Canadian whiskey, would I present these two as a Canadian sipper? No. I would let them try the Canadian Club 12-year or Seagram's VO Gold. All right. On the other hand, if it was somebody I knew that was super cheap, like hated to spend money and wanted to buy the most inexpensive product, well, yeah, I'd let them try these because they probably like it, or at least they tell themselves they liked it, right? try to convince themselves. You know how some people do. Oh, I like it. I like dial-up internet. It's fast enough for me. They don't really believe that. They just don't want to pay. Okay. Which one is cheaper? Yes, the Caliber is cheaper. It's $5.96 a bottle every day, all day at Walmart. This has been the price at Walmart for what, 5 years now that I've noticed it. I mean, it's been there for longer than 5 years. I just didn't notice it. I wasn't trying out liquor 5 years ago before that. So you say, I bet you that's colored. It ain't that dark. Yeah, I know it's colored. You know that. Oh, well, I'm sure we can live with some caramel color. And this one too, not as dark. Now let's look at that appearance though. This is a shade darker, the Caliber. But now it could be the bottle influencing it. You know, plastic and glass could make a difference. I don't know. It is darker. All right. So $5.96 or $7.96. Take your pick. That's $2. You could buy. You go to McDonald's and buy a burger, one of those spicy chicken sandwiches, and still have 92 cents change. So with $2. So have these been worth? There is like that almond flavor. I don't know what that is. Have they been worth buying? Well, yeah. Look. $5.96, and I've done all these taste challenges, and I've got so many more to come. $7, and I paid $7.49. $7.49. Oh, retraction. $7.42. That's right. The rich and rare is $7.49. So I think it's $7.92 now. That's right. So $7.42. $7.42, and I've done all these taste challenges with the limited, and I still have 40% of the bottle left. Oh yeah, I mean it's a great value for that. Now, your counterpoint might be, you might say, I mean, get real, man. You're going to sit there at dawn and compare all these different Canadian whiskeys that you paid a little bit of money for, and that's your hobby, that's your interest, that's exciting to you. Well, yeah, it is actually. And so my philosophy has always been just drink what you like. I mean, I never could understand whiskey, beer, or wine snobs where they have to dictate to other people what to drink. Now, I used to be kind of that way in the early, mid-90s with beer. But I wasn't really trying to dictate what people drank. I was just trying to get members of my family to try other things. I was like, I know y'all love drinking Miller Lite and Coors Light, but why don't you try this beer or try this beer? And they were like, get lost. We don't want to try that. We don't care about your weird freak maniac hobby. No one cares about trying different beers. Okay, get lost. We're trying to eat this deer sausage and pork sausage mix and hang out. We don't care about that. And so after a while I got the message and I was like, okay, they're not interested in this hobby. No one that I know is interested. Well, I had one guy that was interested a little bit. He gave me some cans, like that early Bud Ice can from 1995, the serrated can. But he's a lot of BS with him, you know, like he talks a lot of talk. Like he's one of these like flamboyant presentation people. You know what I'm talking about. And if you're watching Ron, you know you are that way. They talk a good game. They talk a good show. Oh yeah, we're going to get together and do some tastings. We're going to do this and all of that. But then you're like, oh, okay. But you're thinking in your mind, you know that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's not going to really happen. It's just talk. So you play along with it, you know, say, oh yeah, okay. But you know that's not going to happen. Then you get more dedicated hobbyists like David with the big beard, my friend David. He's into it. Like he just is into it. So he talks to me all during the week about, oh, you tried this, you tried that. Hey, I tried this. And he's like that idea to discuss all the products. And so that's an interest, see? So we talk about that. And then we get Alcohol Eggs, that web that group on Facebook, Alcohol Eggs. Well, we talk about that. Now, you might say that's the most boring thing I ever heard of. Who wants to sit there all day and look at each other's whiskey or wine or beer choices and say, oh, look, I tried that once and it was really strong, but maybe I could get used to it later. And you say that's fun to you? Well, that's fun to us. I can understand that other people would roll their eyes and think, good grief, what a life. Okay, but that's our life. You know, we like it. It's like the comic books. I like to read them, you know. I mean, I understand it's, I understand what it is. I mean, you know, you don't have to explain to me what comic books are, you know. I understand it. It's fun to read it. I don't demand other people read it. I've never once in my life told people, I demand you get into comic books. Now, in the past, I had friends that were into it. You know, I love comics. I'm like, yeah, but I'm thinking to myself, it ain't going to last. And then the next time I see him, I say, how's your collection going? Yeah, I ain't really got them in the last 7 years, but I'm like, yep. Stan Lee he used the term a true believer. So like, if you're a true believer, you're going to have the collection. You're going to continue to buy the books year in, year out, 50 years old, and you've been getting them since you were 8 years old. A true believer, not a here today, gone tomorrow fan. Same thing with the beer, wine, and liquor. If you're a true believer, you're going to keep doing it. You're not going to get, like I've had so many people say, well, I got bored with it. Got bored with it. But I'm not judging them. I'm just saying I never could understand how did that become some interest? And was your interest genuine? Did you think, were you really into it, or did you want to start a YouTube channel because you thought you were going to hit the big time? And when it didn't happen, you fell away. So was your liquor hobby on the street? Was it built on gravel on the street? And when the sun came out, you know, it died away the first time you didn't get a view? Was your liquor hobby built in thin soil where it didn't take root and then the sun came out and it withered away? Or was your liquor hobby built in good soil where it was fertile and it grew and it reproduced and it became rich, productive growth that went on for a lifetime? You see, is how, like the Bee Gees said about your hobby, how deep is your love? Okay. I don't know how to explain this whiskey to you except to say, look, if you're into bourbon, this is not going to taste anything like bourbon. So you can just throw that to the wind. That is not going to work. You have to be open-minded and say it's going to be a whole different experience. Now, whether you like it or not, that's a whole different story also. But this is corn, but in all of that, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Do I prefer Canadian blended whiskey over American blended whiskey? Generally, yes. You say, well, they cheat, they add flavoring. Oh, well, so American blended whiskey adds flavoring too. It can have up to 2% blending sherry, not up to 9% of this other concoction stuff, but blending sherry. Oh, well, you know, I just think the Canadian has a little better flavor. And we're talking about really cheap products here today. We're not talking about laying down some big time money. We're talking about, you know what I mean, the low end of the low end. But that's fine. That's fine too. Okay. Yeah, it's a draw, really. I mean, let's get real. These are basically two sides of the same coin. All right. You could take heads, you could take tails, because that's what you're doing with these two. It's like flipping a coin. Are there differences? Yeah, there are differences. Are they important differences? No. Are they significant? No. Do they really matter? No. Should they influence your purchasing decisions? No. So what's the final result? You know what the result is. Caliber wins. It's a clear winner on price, not on flavor. on price. So is the limited perhaps slightly better? It could be true. But one little taste challenge is not going to come close to solving that. Oh, I didn't even look. Is this Canadian? Is this the caliber Canadian? No, that's Canadian Limited. I couldn't even tell them apart. Shows you what I know. And I don't claim to know a lot. Okay, so I'll try one more little taste challenge. We talking about a little bit. All right, there's a little half ounce. If that's a half ounce. Probably not that much. We'll go a little more here with the limited. Now you might say, how is it limited if it's super mass market? Well, I mean, there is a limit, right? They don't produce it endlessly, you know. Anyway, limited is referring to like Canadian and British government companies, corporations, limited liability. They use that in America today, right? LLC. That's that whole concept there. British and Canadian companies will be like limited. In America, in the past, not so much anymore, but it would be incorporated. Same general concept. Okay. So limited loses only because of price. Talking a $2 difference. As far as flavor and enjoyment, they're a tie. And are they actually enjoyable? Can they be enjoyed even if you factor out price? So let's just pretend you didn't pay for them and price doesn't matter. Let's assume price means nothing with these two. Could they still be enjoyable? Yes, I do believe so. They're not exactly gourmet, you know what I mean? But they're not bad. Some people will come on here and say, that's rot gut. Only drunks drink that stuff. Only drunks, fools, indigents, social misfits, outcasts, ninnies, twits, dummies, stupidos, and jerks drink that. Well, they might all drink that. But it's probably not just them. It's people like me too. All right. Hey, good sir, what's the strongest liquor you have tried? I was planning to prank my friend. Please let me know so I could know what I'm buying. Yes, the strongest liquor I've ever tried was Diesel. And I tried it fresh at the distillery. That's nearly 100 proof. It's almost 100% grain alcohol, pure alcohol. We took a sip of it. But don't prank somebody with that because you could kill them. It's it's poisonous, really. It's not designed for drinking, just like the Everclear. The new labels of Everclear look great too, by the way, Luxco. Just letting you know, Luxco, you did a great job on those new labels. But you got to love the old retro label too with that plaid, you know. So Everclear is a classic, a nefarious classic, a deadly classic, but a classic. Got a lot of graveyards being filled behind that stuff. But Diesel is the Sazerac challenger for it, a little cheaper. Same concept, 100% grain alcohol distilled from corn. But that would be a very bad prank, so I would highly recommend that you not do that. I have tried it. When you taste it, you can't believe it. You can't believe it. It's so strong. But you say Diesel, this grain alcohol is not designed for drinking. And they'll tell you right there on the Everclear website, their chief rival and the winner, Everclear outsells it. This is not designed to drink, okay? It's designed to concoct liquor, okay? It's a base. It's sort of like a homebrew product. You know how beer, you can buy malt extract and hop extract, you know what I'm saying, and brewer's syrup, the corn syrup, and you can make your own beer. Okay, same idea. You can buy Diesel or Everclear, and you can make your own bourbon. Now you got to have you say make your own bourbon. Yeah, if you happen to have a charred oak barrel that's never been used before, Got to cut it. Now you read the regulations. You got to cut it with water to bring it down to the proper proof. It's got to be put in the barrel at a certain proof range. It's got to be aged at least 2 years to be a straight bourbon. You could actually age it less than 2 years and just be a bourbon, like Redemption High Rye. That was a waste of money, really. So yeah, you could make your own bourbon. I don't know why you would do that. It would cost you more money to do it than to actually just go buy it. But, you know, it might be fun to do, you know, just for the hobby aspect of it. I mean, you could buy Ancient Age straight bourbon for $9.99. Or you could go to CVS Pharmacy and buy Jethro T. Boots straight bourbon whiskey for $8.99. If you're a member of the CVS club, which I joined. You know what? I ought to go ride by CVS today and see what they've got. Because it's been years since I've been there. They might have updated their liquor selection. Makes me curious. Oh, so very curious. I think, you know what? I think I'm going to do that today. It's right there. It's not even but a half a mile away. All right. It's very enjoyable, but unremarkable. This other one. Yeah. Whoa, it's got a little bit more burn to it, though, that caliber. Okay. Well, okay. You say $2 makes a difference? Well, yeah, I guess it makes a difference because that last little shot there, boy, that had some woo, cat scratch fever. Yeah, that kind of hit me there, boy. That was a little sandpaper scratchy there. Oh yeah, baby. But still in all, they're fine to hang out with, have a little fun with. You know, they're basic, very basic, but not bad. I can't come on here and talk about how bad they are. They're really not bad. All right. No sandpaper. Let's go over here for the final call. Last call for alcohol until I get started with the beer reviews in a little while. All right. Yeah. I got it down now. That caliber has a little bit more booze burn to it. Yeah, it's not the same. It comes across as like more grain alcohol. It's like a cat. Just yeah, okay. You got me there. You have got me there. Old Don is as useless as tits on a boar, but he is my brother-in-law. All right, now so. All right, Canadian Limited wins. I tried to make it a tie. I guess subconsciously, I wanted Caliber to win because it's $2 cheaper. But I guess you better pay the $2 more and get the limited. It's been on the market 47 years. So is there a limited reserve? No, but there could be, you know, because Sazerac is like a lot of companies. There are 300 brands, and then there are 100 other hidden brands that you don't know until you walk in the store and you gasp, you know. But I'm pretty sure the Canadian Limited is the only one of their lineup in that class or under that brand name. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Wink, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Say no more, say no more. That's it. Canadian Limited does win, but we're still talking about now. You say, what about Fleischmann's gin? What about Fleischmann's vodka? I know you can get that. Yes, this is true. I can get it, but I don't know if I want to get got.